Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Siddharth Dambar. Welcome to our webinar today. As I get started here, please note that after we're done today, you can always reach us at any of our usual contact sites. That includes via the website, any of our social sites, email, or phone call. Anyway, today, so we are talking about peptide therapy for weight loss. We'll be talking about who makes an appropriate candidate and all that. And as there are any questions or issues, please shoot them into the chat section or questions section, and I'll make sure to answer them. So in today's talk, we're talking about our weight loss program, peptide options, and weight loss challenges. So I think, as we all know, obesity has a very significant scope in the United States and in the world. A fairly significant portion of the population is affected. And very significant in the United States, as over 40% are considered obese and almost 10% of children are considered obese. So we're talking about our weight loss program and how we can help to combat that. We need better solutions for weight loss. The reason why is the tremendous degree of problems that come along with being overweight are very significant in terms of our healthcare costs. We know that there are significant limitations with traditional methods. Diet and exercise are essential, but they're not adequate for everyone. And we know that there's that yo-yo sort of pattern that can happen for a lot of people when they're following sort of conventional strategies. And we also know that weight loss is complicated. It is complicated by there are issues that are related to biological, psychological, and environmental factors that can be very significant. So our goals for treatment are not only to lose weight, but to improve body composition, meaning reducing body fat, improving muscle mass, even reducing visceral fat, improving your risk factors for cardiovascular issues, metabolic issues, your exercise capacity, eating healthier, eating less, a healthier immune system and gut, and improving your overall sleep and stress management. All this goes together. So there's three main ways that food and eating can affect weight loss. First is if you just eat less than your output. So if intake is less than output, you will have weight loss. Number two is try to eat less of certain foods. Of course, then the question is which foods. In the general population, you'll see people that do everything when it comes to weight loss. You'll see things as extreme as people who are vegan, no oil, to people who are on the other end of the spectrum where they're only carnivore. So the question is always what foods, and that can be a little bit complicated. The general sort of medical recommendations are aim for a Mediterranean style diet, which is heavier in legumes, vegetables, lean proteins, and of course, minimizing things like artificial foods, heavy kind of sugar related foods as well. All the things that we sort of know, that it's good common sense. And then there's also eating during only specific slots of time. It's called intermittent fasting. Some benefits when it comes to metabolic health, weight loss as well. And I think a combination of all this is very useful when it comes to weight loss. So we're talking about peptides today. Peptides are naturally occurring molecules that act as signaling molecules in the body. Another way of putting that is that there are proteins in your body that tell your cells what to do. So peptides, if you can manage peptides medically, you can utilize peptides that emphasize pathways in your body that are helpful and minimize pathways in the body that are problematic. It's a great concept, and it is the future of medicine for sure. And there are aspects of it that are working right now. So the GLP-1 agonists are the biggest weight loss peptide that are out there right now. So glucagon-like peptide 1, this is a naturally occurring hormone that you have from your own gut that helps to regulate your appetite, insulin secretion, energy metabolism. So essentially, after you've eaten, your body starts to respond to that. And GLP-1 has effects that not only help with your blood sugar, absorption, and management and metabolism, but even sort of telling your body and your brain whether it should keep on eating or not. There are other similar peptide targets. So the biggest one right now is semaglutide. That's the GLP-1 target. The other name for that is going to be Ozempic. That's the brand name. Then there's other versions of these, including tirzepatide, which affects 2 different receptors, and then retatrutide, which affects 3, and there's more coming online. It has a very key role in blood sugar control and insulin secretion, regulating your blood sugar, as well as having a key role in blood glucose and diabetes, and thus your overall metabolic health. So, potential game changer in weight loss. Essentially, when the companies, I think it was Novo Nordisk, was originally doing the studies on semaglutide, the generic version of Ozempic, they found that it not only helped with blood sugar control, but that it also really significantly helped weight loss. So it does that in a few different ways. Certainly by managing your blood sugar in your body, right? So it's not just sitting in your blood, but it's being pulled into the muscles. Helps by slowing down how fast the food gets through your system, so you don't have that sense that you're empty and need to eat as much. And then really importantly, it reduces your overall appetite. It reduces that hunger chatter or food chatter. And it does that because GLP-1 naturally works on that part of your system anyway, right? Your normal perception of hunger, it helps to reduce that as well. That is a large part about how this works. So semaglutide and tirzepatide, these are the 2 main ones that are out there. They work by controlling your appetite and weight through that brain and gut reaction, by slowing that transit of food through your system, reducing those hunger sensations, helping you to feel fuller sooner, and even reducing food cravings. So not only reducing the total amount that you're eating, but by reducing food cravings for, frankly, things that are not always so great for you. And reducing that, again, food chatter, that thoughts about food. So semaglutide and tirzepatide are both FDA approved for type 2 diabetes and chronic weight management. In terms of chronic weight management, it's approved if you have a BMI greater than 30, or if you have a BMI greater than 27 with one other weight-related comorbid condition, which are all listed right there. And there's a few different ones out there. What's exciting about that is a lot of our patients that already have conditions like osteoarthritis may have a component of mild obesity, and this is an approved treatment in that indication. And whether or not insurance will pay for it is a whole separate conversation, quite frankly. So other potential preventative indications. For a lot of us that are utilizing these treatments, we're starting to realize that there may be some other benefits. But can this be preventative in the right population for cardiovascular disease, for prediabetes, and someone who's already at risk? Some thought that this may have some utility in folks who are more prone or susceptible to Alzheimer's disease, so neurodegenerative diseases. As such, could this be utilized as an anti-aging thing because it's helping with your metabolic health? And metabolic syndrome, which is a combination of high cholesterol, high blood pressure, high uric acid, and then eventually diabetes, and then also cardiovascular events as well. So can we utilize peptides, our body's own system of regulating itself, to basically work as an anti-aging product? I think that's very fascinating. Very early days of this, but very, very encouraging concepts. So the way that peptides are utilized, it's a weekly injection you give yourself, a subcutaneous injection. The keys are that you start on a low dose, and then you're slowly escalating month by month as needed and as tolerated. So, for example, let's say you're on the lowest dose of semaglutide. Let's say you've lost 4 or 5 pounds after 1 month. Probably doesn't make sense to go up on the dose. You're responding. On the other end, let's say that you've had a mild response. You're not really losing quite enough weight. Appetite is still a bit unregulated. Then going up on it makes sense. All this is contingent on the fact that you're actually tolerating the medication or the peptide. Key to monitor your weight on a regular basis. Make sure you're losing weight at a fair and safe manner. Monitor your appetite and observe for any side effects. And I do recommend checking your metabolic health labs every 6 months to make sure everything is safe. When you look at the results for semaglutide and tirzepatide, it's exciting. For semaglutide, there's an average of 15% loss in weight. For tirzepatide, it's up to 20%. And that is really across multiple studies that have looked at this. The interesting thing is that if you maintain these kind of treatments, generally speaking, the results are maintained long-term as well. If you combine this with good nutrition, regular exercise, you'll maximize your results and stay healthy long-term. Okay, good. In terms of side effects, generally low risk. There's no such thing as no risk when it comes to medicine. With these meds, most common side effect is GI intolerance, some abdominal discomfort, nausea, constipation. That can happen with any of these meds. Less so with tirzepatide than with semaglutide, but still a potential issue. The keys with these treatments are to start at a low dose, work with your physician, and slowly go up on the dose as needed and as tolerated. In my experience, the cases where people have had more significant side effects are when they've gone up too fast on treatment. And so low and slow is the way to go here. The results will happen. You just have to be patient and give it time. So some challenges with GLP-1 treatments. Let's say you have an intolerance with semaglutide, let's say some nausea. A couple things you could do. Number one, you could try adjusting your dosage, right? Let's say you're on a moderate dose, maybe you reduce it to a low dose. Number two is you may try it with a different GLP-1 agonist. Tirzepatide tends to have a little bit less side effects than semaglutide. You could try lipotropics, which we'll talk about. You could even try other peptides, which is kind of a newer version and concept. If you're not losing enough weight with semaglutide, what should you do? First and foremost, make sure that you're maximizing your exercise and diet. You have to optimize your lifestyle factors. Make sure you're doing that. These treatments work much better if you do that. If you need assistance by working with physical therapist, trainer, nutritionist, that should happen automatically. Next is you should think about, is there any limitations or reactions with other medications? So let's say you're on Cymbalta or Lyrica, meds that can work for both anxiety, depression, as well as some osteoarthritis pain. Sometimes those meds can cause a bit more water weight gain. So are there any other meds that you're on that could be causing some issues? Next is consider optimizing your hormone health. I think for anyone who's going through middle age, you start to realize that as your hormone levels start to change, your sort of body's ability to metabolize food and it changes. And so in some people, optimizing their hormone health with supplementation may be necessary. And then of course there's escalating dosing. Have you optimized your dose of treatment? I see sometimes people who just haven't been escalated on their dose enough, and that's why they haven't really improved satisfactorily. And then, of course, you could maybe reaching a certain level of tolerance with the semaglutide, and you may want to try a different GLP-1 agonist like tirzepatide. So I mentioned lipotropics. Lipotropics are some substances that help in the breakdown and metabolism of fat in the blood. It's a series of vitamins, supplements, and amino acids. Helps very well when it comes to energy level, liver detoxification. It can aid in weight loss on its own, maybe not quite strong enough to help with weight loss all by itself, but it can aid in that if you're already on a GLP-1 agonist. And it's just an overall good option, healthy. You want to optimize all your vitamin levels in case you're off. So it can generally help support hormone balance, boost immunity, and in some cases even improve joint health if you've got some aches and pains associated with, let's say, a low vitamin B or something. You inject this intramuscular once per week. Talked about how they can work. It's a nice, mild, conservative option. I think another thing to really think about is health coaching. We started to work with Revolution PT and weight loss for this. And I think coaching helps in a few different ways. Number one, let's say you need to learn a little bit more about what foods are right for you. There's certain common things that I think most of us know, but I think sometimes figuring out whether a particular type of food is more appropriate for you needs a little bit more education sometimes. And I think accountability is huge. We know that to create a new habit, it takes on typically 60 to 90 days. I think to eat healthy and to exercise, sometimes having some accountability is useful. And so I think health coaching can be very useful. The keys to optimize treatment with these options are you want to maximize your exercise and nutrition if you're using the peptides, and think about adding on lipotropics as well. When it comes to food, eat nutrient-dense food, avoid overeating, eat food that is still going to be healthy for you. Don't snack and just eat junk food to kind of fill up. You're going to have a hard time doing that anyway with the GLP-1 agonist, but you shouldn't be replacing good quality food with poor quality food. When it comes to exercise, very key. Cardiovascular exercise to assist with weight loss and improve your metabolic health. Aerobic health, very key for weight loss. Strength training, very key. Number one, helps you burn fat faster the more muscle you have. Number two, one of the issues when it comes to weight loss is that you can lose muscle mass as well, and that can be a problem. So you have to do strength training to help protect the muscles as well. That'll help with not only muscle strength and prevent muscle loss, it'll also help in terms of preventing changes in your body composition that are problematic. You want to improve your body composition, not make it go worse. There are other peptides to think about. These are the ones that are listed here are more growth hormone oriented. There's some evidence that these can be helpful. Certainly in weight loss, you just make sure you work with a physician that knows what they're doing. With all these treatments with the peptides, safety is always first. Just because they're working on your body's own system and pathways, you still safety first. I recommend working with a physician that knows what they're doing, knows how to handle side effects, knows how to escalate your treatment well. Always start low and slowly escalate is the way to go. Also keep in mind that some of the peptides don't have as much evidence. There may be physician experience. Your physician has to be very knowledgeable about these treatments to do this properly. Combining peptides is an interesting concept, very new concept. One concern that's been out there is with the GLP-1 agonists is that because of weight loss, you're going to get muscle loss. It's called sarcopenia. That can be a problem. So you have to do the exercises and eat healthy. There's a recent report that came out that showed that there's another peptide. If you combine it with semaglutide, it can actually help to limit the level of muscle wasting on its own. So that may be the future, combining some of these peptides together to help get an optimal result. As always, you need to be aware of regulatory issues. The FDA, or well, rather your physician needs to be aware of the regulatory issues. It's good if you keep up with it, if you're taking these treatments, but your physician really needs to be aware of this. There is fluctuating FDA guidance and guidelines on this. And so your physician needs to be aware of that. The other thing to keep in mind is some of these products you can get directly through your insurance, through the brand name version, let's say Ozempic or Wegovy or Zepbound, right? Those are made by Novo Nordisk, Lilly, and you have to be aware that those are brand name meds. You have to go through your insurance, are very expensive. There are compound versions as well, meaning compound pharmacies that are assessed and monitored by the FDA that will make this in more of a generic fashion. Meaning it's not the brand name version, thus the cost is lower. Your physician may be working with them. Physician needs to know who they're working with to make sure that you're getting a good product. If it's coming from a compounding pharmacy, physician also needs to be aware of some of the fluctuating regulatory issues when it comes to compounded pharmacy products and compounded pharmacies. So there is a little bit of additional work that your physician needs to be aware of here. You may hear about people losing a little bit of access to their peptides, either because insurance stops paying, compounding pharmacies get blocked. Essentially, and this has been happening intermittently for the last couple of years. Number one, you may change to another peptide or peptide combination, or you may purchase a brand name version if you've lost access to a compounded version, or you may just be patient, and in some cases, some of these have come back online despite having some regulatory issues at one time earlier. Some frequently asked questions: how long will you see weight loss? Some people will notice some early weight loss on week one. You really got to give it at least 3 to 6 months, because there is a build-up phase and then a slow progressive improvement. You always want to start on a lower dose and escalate, so you have to be a little bit patient. How much weight can you expect to lose? On average, 15 to 20% after 1 year. Do you need to continue treatment? How long do you need to continue treatment? Again, I say start it for at least 6 months to see how well you're going to do. The studies for peptides show that they are most effective when you're dealing with chronic weight loss management. And so it's more about utilizing these treatments long-term. A lower maintenance dose may be possible. And you need to realize that there may be some cycling with some of these peptides depending on the protocol. Some other questions. I've had people ask me some of these questions. So do you need to eat healthy and exercise when using these treatments? I would say absolutely. I would recommend that. It will help with better eating habits. They'll give you more optimal result. The next is, can semaglutide, tirzepatide make your muscles and bones weaker? When you lose weight, there's a risk of muscle loss and bone thinning. The way that you combat that is by focusing on body composition, by doing regular exercise, including strength training, and eating appropriately healthy to feed those muscles. Do the resistance exercises, optimize your nutrition, and there may be some benefit in the future with combining with other peptides as well that help to combat sarcopenia. Another question: I already don't eat much. Will treatment still help? They can still help. The GLP-1 agonists do more than just stop you from eating. They help your metabolic health as well, which I think is in large part why I think it's significantly affects why we gain weight as we get older, significantly affects why our exercise level is not up to standard as we get older in terms of maintaining our weight. And absolutely, semaglutide, tirzepatide can still help even if you're not overeating. And keep in mind, things like lipotropics can still be beneficial, which really have nothing to do with how much you're eating. Another question: if I stop treatment, will I regain all the weight? Studies show that if you abruptly stop treatment, stop healthy eating and exercise, you will regain 2/3 of your weight over time. So continue to eat healthy, continue to exercise, consider utilizing the peptides longer term, because they do work longer term. You may be on a lower dose for maintenance or less frequently. And then how do peptides compare to other weight loss meds? These peptides, the GLP-1 agonists, they lead to more weight loss and they have less side effects than what we've been using in the past. So pretty exciting options out there. In terms of our physician-assisted weight loss program here at Chicago Arthritis, we do a few things: thorough evaluation, understand you, your medical history, your goals, any underlying medical issues. Then guide you through this whole process with continuous monitoring and adjustment of treatment as required, monitoring your labs as well. To do this properly, you have to do this properly. You can't just do it halfway. Just a little bit about how much we charge in terms of our peptide programs stuff. I think our summer discount is lapsing or has lapsed, but check it out and see if it's still available. If you want to learn more, there's our QR code. You can also go to our website at chicagoarthritis.com and find the peptide therapy link. I think peptides are an exciting option. Who's the right candidate? Realistically, it's if you failed conservative other options in terms of diet and exercise. And you understand that maintaining healthy eating and healthy exercise is key. And you're someone who can tolerate these kind of treatments. So I think it's an exciting way to help patients treat their metabolic health. And I think the future is going to be exciting as we get more and more combination treatments as well. Okay, good. Well, we're coming to the end of our time today. Thank you, everyone, for your time. If you're interested in the weight loss program, please contact us, and we look forward to helping or answering any questions as needed. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.